The Big Idea Business Bootcamp for Beginners. The 5 simple steps to your dream business idea. So, before we get into that, I want to talk about the top 4 problems that all working Muslims have. Maybe you have one of these, which is that you are restricted by your job, you don't have enough free time, you're not paid what you're worth, and you don't feel fulfilled in your work. A bonus problem, by the way, is actually yourself and all the things that come with that as well. My name is Mohammed Arshad, and I've spent the last 7 years helping Muslims to make millions with online businesses. I've also built my own 6 and 7 figure companies from scratch, and I love helping Muslims like you to do the same. I've also been blessed, alhamdulillah, to build and launch successful charities and brands and have trained many Muslim speakers, leaders, and big YouTubers. Now I run a mentorship program. It's called Rizq with Impact, which helps Muslims to build simple education businesses online. And it also deals with the 4 problems that all working Muslims have. There's nearly 1,000 Muslims in Rizq with Impact right now. And we have a special offer. If you're watching this right now, you can try the recipe version of it for just £1. Okay. If you want access, you just click the link and you can get access to that immediately. And we can help you with our amazing course, also giving you feedback. Now, about this bootcamp, let's get straight into it. Why should you even look at this bootcamp? Now, this is actually very important, right? Because my vision is a world filled with economically empowered Muslims who benefit mankind. And I want our ummah to be strong in every way, especially economically. Why is this? Because you've seen what's been happening in Gaza and all these different places. Economics is a huge part. And I want to use my 20 plus years of studying business to have a direct impact on your life today. So if you're someone who would love to escape the 9 to 5, to be free to work on benefiting people and make more than enough money, then this is definitely the bootcamp for you to start with. Now, I'm going to be showing you how you can come up with your dream business idea. I want you to think about this for a second. Every single thing you see, look around you right now, every single thing you see right now is actually something that started as a thought in someone's head. Anything. Okay, so some of these thoughts, they became billion-dollar businesses and billion-dollar ideas because of a thought. Whether that's a product or a charity changing people's lives, it's all about transforming those thoughts and those ideas into something amazing. And in this bootcamp, I'm going to be showing you exactly how you can take the thoughts in your head and turn it into an idea for your dream business, inshallah. This is something, by the way, that took me 15 plus years to learn. I've spent hundreds of thousands of dollars in salaries, testing, and all of this stuff. And I'm just going to save you a lot of time and effort and money by showing you everything you need to know. What I'm going to show is actually going to work for any Muslim in any country, in any language, inshallah. And it's built on fundamentals. It's not just tricks or trends or anything like that. Okay. Does this stuff really work? As proof, that stuff that I'm going to show you and go over works, here are just some of the people who have basically been inside Rizq with Impact, who paid us thousands of dollars to help them to build their own dream businesses. You can always pause this and read the amazing stuff they've said. So my goal for you is to implement this, okay? The key to your success is to take action and then put your trust in Allah. So taking action, what does that mean? It means that as we're going through this boot camp, you take your own notes, okay? And you complete the action steps. I want this to be like a workshop. This is why I'm recording video, because you can see the document. I'll give you access to it. But I want this to be like a workshop where you go through this video with me and then you can actually do it. So make sure that you're in that mindset of taking notes, going through it with me, and let's build this business idea together right now, inshallah. So why is it that you must build your dream business? Well, the first thing is that it solves the biggest problems. So we talked about these problems already, right? We said that we have all these 4 problems if you're a working Muslim, and we said that the top way of actually dealing with each of these problems is to actually start a business. So if you're restricted by your job, you feel like you don't have enough time, or you don't have enough money, or you don't feel fulfilled in your work, then this is exactly why you must do this right now and actually build this business. Now, what happens is when you actually have this lifestyle, you are able to live Rizq with Impact. What do we mean by Rizq with Impact? It's basically being free to work on your dreams while you're earning more than enough, okay? And you're having an impact on those people that you care about as well. Now, this is something that is huge, by the way, because what it will do is not only will it help you economically and make you feel more fulfilled, it actually empowers our ummah. And I know that you care about our ummah. I know that you want to help strengthen it. And one of the best ways to do this is to become an economically empowered Muslim. This is someone who makes more than enough money. Okay. This is someone who uses their wealth to strengthen the Muslims. And this is someone who gives for the sake of Allah. This is who I know you want to be, inshallah. And it also stops you from being a slave of money. Okay, one of my teachers, Sheikh Muhammad al-Sharif, rahimahullah, he would always say, if you don't master money, then you become its slave. And there are people out there who they don't pray Fajr, but they sit at bus stops at 6 a.m. Think about that. They don't even wake up for Fajr, but they will sit at a bus stop at 6 a.m. to go to a job they hate for 10 hours a day. They are slaves of money and not Allah. And that's why they actually compromise their values. Okay. So I want to help you to build your own dream business that enables you to be free from this and makes money a tool for you rather than a master. Okay. So in this part, I'm going to be going through the things you need to actually know before you build your dream business, because it's not just about getting into it. There is something that's really, really important. And that is your messed up relationship with money. Okay. And I know this sounds like really, really weird, but there is a messed up relationship that you have with money. As Muslims, I feel like it's a very weird relationship because some of us, we're actually scared of money. And you know, you're like, what, Muhammad, why would I be scared of money? Yes, because we know from Allah that there are many people who were given wealth, they were given comfort, and they became ungrateful. And ultimately, it led them to Jahannam. So, of course, we don't want to go near that route. And sometimes it can feel like being poor is actually being righteous. And I want this to really think about, I want you to really think about this because there's a big conflict. Because at the same time, there's a huge conflict, which is so many of your life choices are dependent upon money. All right. So think about this. Imagine if you had hundreds of millions of pounds in your bank right now. Would you be living where you live? If you had hundreds of millions of pounds in your bank account right now, would you be driving the same car that you drive right now or traveling in the same way that you travel? If you had hundreds of millions of pounds in your bank account right now, would you be going to work every day? Okay. And if you had all that money, would you even be doing this boot camp? Okay. The answer is probably no to all of these questions. This is why one of my friends would always say, money isn't everything, it's the only thing. And you know, as Muslims, we don't really agree with the statement, but we have to realize that money is definitely one of our biggest factors in the decisions that you make and the life that you live. And so what I want to do is, before we get into like the actual business idea, I want to give you a money mindset makeover. Right? You've seen these kind of makeover glow up things where they take someone and they make them look amazing. I want to do the same thing with your mindset when it comes to money. Okay. So before we build on your dream business, we need to change your relationship with money. Right? If you don't do this, you're always going to suffer with the same problems. So here are the critical things that you need to know about money. The first thing is money good or evil? I want you to remember that money and wealth is not good or evil, but it's a tool which can be used for good or evil, just like a knife. So a knife, you know that it can be used to cut fruit for your parents, and that's something very noble, or it could be used to hurt an innocent person or people, which is evil. Okay, so our Islamic tradition has many stories of how the most pious Muslims use their wealth to buy Jannah. So you may have heard of this story of the well already. Okay, this is a story when the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he promised a reward in Jannah to whoever bought a well in Medina and made it accessible for people. Uthman radiallahu anh, who you know, he attempted to buy it. Okay, so when he heard this from the Prophet sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he attempted to buy it, and this was because he wanted to do something amazing. Like when you have this situation where you have basically a reward from the Prophet ﷺ saying, I will actually give you Jannah, of course, everyone wants it. So he said, I'm going to go and buy this. Now, when he went to go and buy it, the guy who owned it, he didn't actually want to sell it. He was a non-Muslim, right? But Uthman was able to negotiate it and he was able to buy half of it. What does that mean? He basically said to the guy that I will basically use it on one day, you will use it on one day. And so he had basically use of it every other day. Okay. And the owner thought, well, that's good. I get money and I still get to keep the well. Okay. But Uthman radiallahu anh, he had his own plan, right? He made the water available for free, right? He could have charged, but he made it available for free on the days that belonged to him. So he had a day, the other guy had a day, and he basically said, I'm going to give it to the Muslims for free. So the Muslims, they started to use it, obviously, on the free days. So everyone would come on the days that it was free, and they would avoid using it when the other guy had it because he was charging a lot of money. And so what happened after some time is that the owner, he came and he said to Uthman, you know what, just buy the whole well off me, because now no one's coming to me because you've made it free. Okay. But he wasn't in a position to demand a high price. So Uthman was able to make the purchase at a much lower price than what it may have cost otherwise. Okay. So according to one source, by the way, they say that it cost 35,000 dirhams. What is 35,000 dirhams? It is $1.5 million today. Okay, roughly. So think about this. He readily gave it to charity. And this well, by the way, it would go on to become the foundation of Uthman's Waqf, which exists to this day. Okay, Waqf is like an ongoing charity. So 1400 years later, Uthman radiallahu anh is still giving charity. Can you imagine this? They have this bank account which is opened in his name 1400 years ago when they didn't even have bank accounts, and he is giving charity of around $10 million per year from that one deed. Subhanallah, how amazing. Now, I want to ask you, do you think Uthman would have been able to buy the well if he didn't have money or wealth? The answer is no. Okay, so imagine losing out to Jannah because you didn't have enough money or the wealth. Like, imagine buying Jahannam by doing something haram just to earn money. Imagine the opposite. Okay, and unfortunately, these are the realities that exist for many Muslims today. But alhamdulillah, one of the main aims of this bootcamp is to protect you from this and to create opportunities where you're able to give more than you ever have given in your life. So I want you to make the sincere intention to do that. I want you to make the intention right now that you will be one of those people that will use money as a source of good. And you will be like Uthman radiallahu anh, who when the opportunity comes, actually goes out there and buys Jannah for the sake of Allah. Now, in this part, I want to focus on which one is your dream business. Okay, so building a business, it takes time, it takes effort. It's really, really important that you pick the correct one. There are millions of different businesses that you could start today, but almost all of them are the wrong ones for you. Okay, and after training tens of thousands of Muslims, I have developed a criteria for your dream business. Okay, now here are the main things. The first thing is that it must be beginner friendly. What does this mean? It means that it has to be easy for you to start and it has to be easy for you to be successful at. It must also be low investment. What does that mean? This means that it can't be something that you have to put, like, I don't know, £50,000 in, and then if it doesn't work, you lose that money. So it has to be something that you don't lose everything if the business fails, because there's a high likelihood that new businesses will fail. You know, there's data out there that suggests all but a few businesses fail within 2 years. Like, it's a huge number. I think it's half or more than half. Okay. So in the same way, we want it to separate your time from earning money. Okay. So we want a business that you can actually earn without working. And then it must be mobile. So I want you to be able to do this from anywhere in the world and where you have internet. It must be scalable. This is so that it can grow easily and that you can earn more money than now. And most importantly, it must have impact. This is so it isn't only about making money alone, but it's also about making a difference in the world as well, inshallah. Now, the best business for you. Like, after a decade of building different businesses, brands, organizations, these are like all the different businesses. These are not all, actually. These are only some of the businesses that I've done. And I found one that matches all of our criteria for a dream business. And this is a simple education business online. Okay. Now, this is actually the point where lots of thoughts are going to run through your mind. Maybe you've got questions. Maybe you've got doubts. Maybe this is the moment where a light bulb is going on in your head. Whatever it is, it's fine. Whatever's going through your mind right now, it's not a problem, because this is the moment you discovered the thing that is going to transform your life and your finances forever, inshallah. So what is a simple education business? You might be thinking, what on earth is that? Okay. So imagine you love cars or horses or anything, right? You know so much about this thing and you love learning about it even more. Now, one day a close friend comes to you and asks you for advice, right? Like, they ask you for advice on cars or whatever you love. What do? I'll tell you what you do. You talk to them and you help them and you tell them what to avoid and you tell them how to get the best outcome. Now, imagine someone else that you don't know comes to you for the same advice, and instead they want to pay you for it. So they say, you got all this knowledge on cars or horses or whatever. I just want to pay you to basically speak to you about it. That is an example of a simple education business. And millions of people are making billions of dollars from it right now. And the great news is that you can do this too, inshallah. And I'm going to be showing you how to do this. Like I said, this is actually a boot camp. I want you to do it with me. Now is the time to get into action. Let us do this together. Okay. So now you might be thinking, what on earth can I help people with? And this is a very natural reaction. Okay. This is actually the most important question for you to be asking right now, because getting this right almost guarantees your success. And the good news is that I have a tried and tested recipe which makes it easy to decide this. Now, before I share it with you, I need you to remember a few important things. This bootcamp is all about discovering your dream business idea. Do not worry about anything else right now. Why am I saying this? Because as we're going to go through this, you're going to start thinking about other things in the future. And those things are not relevant to you right now. I want you to just focus on this bootcamp. Do not worry about anything else right now. And I want you to focus on getting this done, right? Do not overthink the questions or answers. So I'm doing this in a workshop way, which means that you can just be with me on this. By the time you finish this video, which is not going to be a long time, you will actually have a dream business idea, right? This is how I designed this whole resource for you. So I want you to write down what comes to mind, but do not overthink it. Do not spend time thinking it. Whatever comes to your mind, write it down. Just answer the questions. Just write whatever comes to your mind. Don't worry about like thinking about it. Is it wrong? Is it right? Just write it out. Just get it out. Okay. So you need something to type with. You need something to write. And of course, before you start, you want to put your trust in Allah. You want to ask Allah to help you. Maybe this is the start of something huge for you. So say Bismillah and let's get straight into it as well. Now, the way we're going to be doing this is a model called the 3Ps. So this is the model, which is basically we're going to be choosing the people that we're going to be serving. We're going to be looking at the problem that they have. And we're also going to be going into what are we promising them in terms of a solution. So I just want to give you a high level overview before we get into it. But in terms of the actual people, let's get straight into it. Who do you want to help? Okay. If you could spend your whole life helping a certain type of people, who would it be? Think about that. Okay. And write it down. Do not overthink it. Just write down whatever comes to mind. Okay. Imagine I said to you, who are the people that you want to help? Just write down all the things that are coming down. Whatever thoughts are coming to your head right now, just write it down. Write it down. Who are the types of people that you would love to work with? Who are the types of people that you would love to help? Just write that down. Okay. If you need more time, you can pause this and then you can carry on. Now, I want to give you some more help on this. Okay. I'm going to give you some prompts that are going to help you to pick your people. So you don't need to choose any of them. They're just going to help you to think of ideas. So I want you to think, could it be children? Would it be adults? Would it be elderly people? Would it be parents? Or is there some other classification? Would it be Muslims? Would it be non-Muslims? Is there a category that defines them? For example, maybe it's gardeners. Maybe it's something like cyclists. Maybe it's readers. Maybe it's teachers. Maybe it's project managers. Maybe it's plumbers. Maybe it's people who live in the UK. Maybe it's Londoners. Maybe it's Europe. Maybe it's the West. So I want you to still be writing. Like just keep writing, and keep thinking about who are the exact type of people that you would love to work with. Now, let's go through a very simple check with the people, right? Now that you have a few ideas of the people that you want to help with, you need to do the following. Okay, so the first thing you want to do is look at your list and you want to pick only one type of people. Now, look, because I've done this with so many people, I know how you feel, and I know that you don't want to do this. You don't want to pick one specific person or type of person, but it's really, really important that you do this, and we cannot move forward unless you do this. So just for this workshop, you can actually pick that person. And like I said, later on, you can change it. You can change your mind. You can do whatever you want, but just pick one type of person. It doesn't matter which one you pick. You can always change it later. Just choose and write it down now. Who do you pick? Now, once you've done that, once you pick this person or this type of person, I want you to make it narrower and I want you to make it more specific. This is the time for you to go deeper. So, for example, instead of just choosing Muslims, you might choose Muslim gardeners, just as an example, okay? Instead of choosing teachers, you might choose newly graduated teachers or newly qualified teachers, Okay, so you want to go deeper, you want to make it more specific. Once again, it doesn't matter which one you pick, you can always change it later. Just choose it and write it down right now. And again, if you need more time, you can pause this. This is why it's a video. Just pause it. And when you're ready, when you've written it down, just basically move on. Okay, now, one warning I want to give you. Remember, we are building your dream business. So, when choosing your people, one thing to be careful of is their ability to pay. This is going to be a business. Okay, so we need them to be able to pay. So, for example, you might not want to choose unemployed people, or you might not want to choose teenagers unless you're sure that they can get access from somewhere else for the money. You might not want to choose them. So if you've chosen a type of person that will find it very difficult to pay, you might want to choose, you might want to change the people that you've chosen and choose someone else. So if you want to do that, you can pause the video, you can change it. Now, it may be that your dream business idea is actually not a business idea, it's more of a social enterprise, it might be a charity, it might be something like that that you're starting, which is fine. But just keep in mind that you will still need some sort of financial model. So you still need to understand where the money is going to come from in there as well. So if you've done this correctly, and if you followed what I've said, you should have a type of people. Now, don't worry if it's not perfect. Don't worry if it's not exactly as it should be. But the main thing is you have a type of people. So that's great. Now let's move on to the problem. So now we're going to be looking at what do you want to solve, right? So when you think of these type of people, what problems or struggles do you think they have? I want you to just write it down. Okay. So, like, just imagine I chose Muslim gardeners. Okay. What kind of problems will a Muslim gardener have? And I could just start listing them, right? So, for example, like if they're Muslim gardeners in the UK, their problem might be bad weather. Okay. They might be that they don't have a garden. There might be that plants are expensive. Like, whatever the problems are, I want you to write them down. Okay, just think of it as many as you can. Don't overthink it. Just write it down as best as you can, and just do that now. If you need to pause the video, feel free to do that as well. Okay. Now, in terms of helping you, I want to give you some things that are going to help you, some prompts that are going to help you to find problems that people may be facing. Now, you don't need to choose any of them. They are just there to help you think of more ideas. So, first of all, you think of these type of people and you might want to think of what are their daily struggles? What are the most common frustrations that they encounter daily? So, as a gardener, Muslim gardener living in the UK, what is my daily frustration? Okay. What are the specific tasks that they find time consuming or difficult? So when you're thinking about your person, what are the tasks that they find difficult or time consuming? Also, you want to think about the emotional side. What are emotional difficulties or stresses that they frequently face? How do these emotional challenges impact their day life to life? So I want you to get into the mind of the person you want to help and serve and into their mind in regards to the problem. Like, what kind of problems are they facing, right? At the same time, I want you to think about professionally. What are the biggest hurdles that they face in their professional life? So, for example, if you're dealing with Muslim parents, maybe you'll be thinking, what professional issues they have while picking up their kids from school? Like, their work interferes with picking up the children. Are there any skills or knowledge gaps that hold them back in their careers? Are there any educational barriers? What obstacles are there in terms of them pursuing their education or their skills? Are there resources that they lack access to that could help them in their learning? Okay. What about social interactions? What kind of problems do they have when it comes to social settings or relationships? Are there any situations or conflicts that they encounter regularly? Are there any health problems? So when you're thinking about your people, you want to think, what are the health, wealth, and relationship issues that they have? So I just want you to just write as many problems that you think this type of person would have. And just by knowing this type of person and these prompts, you should be able to come up with a list of problems. And keep writing. Don't stop. Just keep writing. Pause it if you have to, but keep writing the problems that they may have. Now, once you've done that, we can now go and do a bit of a check. You've probably had a lot of ideas of the problems that they can face if you've done this problem. Now, what I want you to do is I want you to pick only one problem. And again, I know this can feel like it's like cutting everything off, but it's really important. It doesn't matter what you pick. You can always change it later, but just write down the one problem that you want to go for. I want to help you with this, by the way, right? What I want to do is I want to give you a bit of a warning is that remember that we really, really want to help people. And so when you're choosing your problem, one thing to be careful of is to choose a problem that they actually find painful. Okay, it doesn't have to be physically painful, but more emotionally. And this is because as people, we usually only work on things that are painful and need fixing. Okay, just look at your own life. You probably, if you had to go for a dental checkup, you might put that off. But if you were in extreme pain in your tooth or in your ear, may Allah protect you, then you would probably go and get that fixed immediately. Okay, so for that reason, we need to choose something that is painful and needs fixing. So if you need to change your problem because it's not painful, I want you to go back, go look at your list and choose a problem which is really, really painful. But once you've chosen it, I want you to write it down now that this is your problem. And then we can move on, inshallah, on to the next part. The next part is actually the promise. So, what is the promise? The promise is how do you want to solve it? Okay. So, when you think of your chosen people, when you think of your chosen problem, what is the outcome? What is the outcome? What is the result? What is the solution that your people would love to have as a result? I want you to write this down now. Again, don't overthink it. Just write the first thing that comes to your mind. Look at the problem, look at the opposite, look at the solution, and just write down the things that come to your mind. Feel free to pause this video again if you need to do that, inshallah. So I want to give you some help in case you're struggling with the promise. So one of the things you want to do is here are some prompts that are going to help you to find the promise of the people that you would love. You don't need to choose one of them. You don't need to do this. You can actually just get ideas from it. The main thing is for you to just think of this as I'm saying it out to you aloud. So when it comes to the solution, okay, what would their ideal like? What would their ideal life look like after they solve this problem? How would this transformation help them in their daily lives? Okay. What are the long term benefits if they were to overcome this problem? How would their future be different if they were to resolve this problem? What impact would this have on their community if they were to solve this problem? Okay. How would it help the people that are around them? How would it develop them as a person? How would it enable them to contribute to the world? What new skills or what new strengths would they gain through this process? How would this solution make their life easier? How would it enable them to get results in other areas of their life? I want you to think about all of these things and I want you to write down all the possible solutions and the benefits of these solutions. Now, when the promise is there, we want to basically check. So you have a few ideas that are there that you would love to achieve for people. Now you need to do the following again. You need to pick only one promise. Now I know again this can feel like you don't want to, but it's really, really important. Like I always say, you can pick it, you can change it later. Just write it down, just choose one and write down this is actually the problem. This is the solution, sorry, the promise that I'm going to be going with. Now, one thing to say about the promise is that you want to get great results for your business. So when you're choosing your promise, one thing to be careful of is that you are choosing a promise which is achievable and has already been solved. Okay. If you need to change the promise, then you can go back and do that. What do I mean? Like, you don't want to have a brand new problem that has never been solved. Because remember, you're a beginner at this, and we want to help you to build this very easily. So you want to choose a solution which is actually achievable, right? It doesn't require decades of research or millions of pounds of investment. It's just basically a problem. And I'll give you an example. Let's say someone wants to quit drinking alcohol. Okay, there are many, many people out there who have already quit drinking alcohol. So for you to say, I'm going to help someone to quit alcohol, it's very achievable and it's already been solved. So I want you to look at your problem, make sure it's not something crazy that's going to take decades and millions of pounds, but rather it's a promise which you can achieve. And if it's not the right promise, you can go back right now and you can choose the right promise. So pause the video, choose the right promise, and go ahead and do that. Now, once you have this, okay, you have the people, you have the problem, you have the promise there. What we're going to do is we're going to take all of this that you've done up till now and we're going to come up with an I help statement. This is basically a very small statement that clearly communicates who you help, the specific problem that you solve, and the desired outcome that you want to achieve for them. And it's very simple. You will just take what you've got already and you will fill in the blank. So for example, over here it says, I help a certain type of people get a certain type of promise without a certain type of thing. So for example, I might say, I help young Muslims okay, to overcome their addiction to alcohol without going through rehabilitation or feeling guilty or something like that. Okay, so you can see that you can actually come up with a statement just based on what you've already decided there as well. Now, once you do that, Alhamdulillah, you actually have come up with your dream idea within 30 minutes, right? This is your dream business idea that you have come up with already. And this is so far ahead of what most people achieve because the idea is such a huge thing when it comes to your business. And this is why this bootcamp is there for you. Now, if you would love to get some feedback from me, because I know you've come up with something, but one of the things we do is we try and check that what you've come up with, is it right? We also want to help you to make the idea better, make sure that it's in line with what you want to do, and all of these things. So if you would love to have help from me and from my team to give you more details, for example, actually go into much more details with each of these things, give you more examples, you can actually join the Rich with Impact recipe program, which will give you access to our course. This will actually show you how to go through all of these things, including the idea, including the execution, and all of this stuff. It also gives you access to our community where I am there, my business partners, the team, the coaches. We are all standing by there to serve you, to help you in that community. And you can actually get feedback by posting in that community as well. And right now, we have a trial that is available for you right now where you can join just for £1. Now, I've got to tell you, this is something crazy that we're doing, alhamdulillah. And this is the same course that people have paid thousands of pounds and dollars to get access to for this stuff, right? So if you're someone who wants to get help, wants to get feedback, and wants to try this out for just £1, just click the link and you can get straight into that. I hope that this has been beneficial for you. I hope that you have found it helpful. And I pray that Allah makes it easy for you on your journey to building this dream business so that you can become Rizq with impact. And I really look forward to seeing you in the free trial. Jazakumullah khair. Subhanakallah wa bihamdik. Ashhadu an la ilaha illa anta astaghfiruka wa atubu ilaik. Assalamu alaikum wa rahmatullahi wa barakatuh.